Hey everybody. So this is what if Deku was black, part 1. Now, I like this what if a lot, and since I'm African American, I can relate. So let's get to it. So Deku is born relatively the same, but Deku's father is African American instead of, white. Deku's father does come from America. He moved to Japan because he fell in love with Inko. Because Inko, did go on a little trip on America, fell in love with Deku's father. Deku's father moved to Japan for Deku's mother. Pretty much their life was very, well, kind of, really good. It was a lot, it was less racism in Japan than it was in America. So Deku did grow up a little civilized, but Deku did have, that black personality. So Deku was pretty, pumped up and, well, angry. So Deku didn't let anybody push him around. If somebody pushed him around, Deku would drop clock and beat that motherfucker's ass like World Star. So Deku was pretty, um, you know, just off the bat, he didn't fuck with you. If you talk shit to him, he would have knocked the teeth out your mouth. So Deku was Deku was a different breed. Now Deku was genetically already, fit because Deku's father was genetically, already fit. Deku's father didn't need to work out that much. So Deku, pretty much the skin tone Deku has is exactly what you see in this picture. So Deku basically goes through life being bullied a little bit by Bakugo because he is kind of a different tone. Deku's father, Deku's father does get a little pissed at this because Deku did tell his dad about Bakugo bullying him. Deku's dad just says, don't listen to a dick. So pretty much Deku takes that to heart and does one day about a day one day before Deku unlocks his quirk, because Deku does have a quirk in this what if. Deku bumps into his bully for now, and Bakugo looks at Deku and says, "Get the hell out of my way, brown face." Deku gets pissed by this and pretty much World Star drop kicks his ass into the ground. Everybody is shocked, and and this happens in the front of the schoolyard, and some people are walking by out of the school premises and pretty much just start recording this shit on the other side of the gate. And they're pretty much just recording this shit, saying World Star, and pretty much Deku's just being the helly shit out of Bakugo. Just bah, 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 bah. Just going at it. So Deku eventually stops, and Bakugo does have like a bloody nose, and he's bleeding from the mouth, and he has a bruised up eye. The doctors get Bakugo. Bakugo isn't hurt, isn't losing any teeth. He's okay. Deku has a little bit of a scraping on his fist. Deku gets a little bit of bandages on his fist, and Deku's okay. Deku gets pretty much suspended for about 5 days. Deku goes back home. Deku's mom's a little bit angry at Deku. Deku's dad's angry at Deku. Deku gets grounded for a couple of days. And pretty much Deku after that doesn't stop because he just got grounded for like 2 or 3 days. Because his mom's Japanese. Well, Japanese people do, have that black punishment type of shit. You brought dishonor to this family. I have to beat the shit out, So Deku basically did get his ass, whooped. But yeah, Deku Deku was still the same. Not, the same canon Deku, but he was pretty lit. So Deku, um, after those days, Deku found out what his quirk was. They went, they went to the quirk doctor with Deku's dad and mom. And pretty much they pretty much found out what Deku's quirk was. Deku's quirk was called weapon curation. Now, Deku can curate any weapon. He's not just limited to guns or knives or just regular old, weapons. Deku can make any weapons. I mean, weapons like Mjolnir and Wonder Woman's Lasso of Truth. Deku can make weapons that are in comic books as well. There's no limitation to what weapons. They just have to be classified as weapons by the people that make up these weapons, or that pretty much a good chunk of humanity calls these things weapons. So Deku can make anything that's considered a weapon, like a knife or a sword or a gun, a shield. A shield. I think a shield is a weapon. Yeah, yeah, a shield's a weapon. So Deku can make any weapon that's fictional or real. Deku is pretty happy with this quirk, and Deku does get popular with this. Now, Deku does pretty much pass his time listening to rap music and also listening to some pretty much Marvel comics, because Deku does use this to upgrade his quirk, because Deku wants to know more about, fictional weapons so he can make them so he can be a good hero. And Deku still wants to be a hero in this world. But one day when Deku's about, I think, 15, Deku pretty much is in his room. And that whole entire time skip, in that time skip, Deku's father, well, kind of, went out for a pack of cigarettes. Went out to get some milk. Went out to, get the car fixed. So pretty much, Deku, Deku's dad was gone. Gone. Later on, Deku's dad will come back on the story, but it'll be another time. So Deku's mother was more supportive, but Deku's mother always had Deku's father on her mind, mainly not really focusing on Deku that much. Deku was kind of angry by this, but just shrugged it off and just lived his life. Deku was sad and kind of depressed, and the one thing that got him off of his mind was comic books, working out, and pretty much just straining himself from the rest of the world. Deku turned to pretty much music. Deku started singing his own songs, writing his own lyrics, and eventually Deku came out with his first album. So Deku was pretty impressed of, his outfit. Pretty impressed of his, what was it? Oh yeah. Wait. He was pretty impressed with his first song. Deku started this, and pretty much Deku was really impressed, and he dropped his first album and he put it up on, live Twitch. Everybody was lit because this is the first rapping song that was produced in Japan. Not that much Japan or Japanese people have sawn or heard of, rap. And everybody's grandma and everybody was listening to this joint. And they didn't really know it was Deku. Deku's rapper name was called pretty much what was it? Jackie Black. Yep, I wrote that down. Deku's rapper name is called Jackie Black. Or Jack Black. So, most people call him Jack Black, but some people that want to, make it kind of funny calls him Jackie Black. So, Deku's rapper name, you can say Jack Black or Jackie Black. Deku's rapper name is Jack Black. And Deku, pretty much his rap song basically sounds like that. So Deku's beat, and Deku spit some rhyme about his life and how kind of depressing it is, but also how his life was better than this. And Deku pretty much just talked about some real deep stuff. So Deku was getting a lot of, good comments and pretty good subscribers and all that other stuff. Deku did get a phone call by a producer that wanted Deku to, get some more, equipment, because he said Deku probably had some sort of cheap setup. Deku would get a little pissed by this, and a guy sent him his address. Deku said he done messed the fuck up, and he walks over to the pretty much house. Deku's about to pull out a freaking cloud sword from the video game and just start swinging that shit, but he gets inside of the building, and the man walks up to Deku and gives him a black handshake, and he looks at the man and he realizes that he's half Japanese, half black, like Deku. He explains to Deku that he wants to help Deku out, and he takes him to the person that pretty much called him in the first place. Deku recognizes this man. Deku doesn't really recognize him, he just looks a little bit familiar. He reminds him of a girl he saw on the street. So pretty much he helps him out, and a couple of days after that, he uploads another album. He gets a lot of money. Everything. Deku gets pimped out, and Deku gets a lot of money. To a point that Deku's mother doesn't have to struggle anymore, and Deku can pay his mom's bills. And if Deku moved out, he can pay his bills and his mom's bills at the same time, and buy a freaking 5-star restaurant dinner with his own wallet money. So Deku's pretty rich. He's pretty ganged out. Deku wears clothing like this on the daily. Like Deku be balling out here. Yeah, Deku wears outfits like this all the time. Pretty much, Deku is balling at this point. Got gold chains, everything. Deku is a kind of a baller at this point. So Deku is not. Deku hasn't had his first, concert yet. Deku. No one really knows Deku's real name or who Jack Black is. So Blackjack or Jack Black. Blackjack, I think. Well, whatever. Jack Black's name is. So Deku is pretty much walking down the street and he sees two guys mugging a girl. Deku goes over there to try to stop him, and before Deku could pull out his weapon or his gun, the guy shoots Deku in the shoulder. Deku falls onto the ground bleeding out, and the guy's about to walk away, but Deku pulls out a freaking sticky bomb from Halo and chucks it right at the back of the guy that was driving off. They drive off, and 2 minutes later, the car they were in explodes. So yeah, Deku pretty much killed those people. So Deku got up after a couple of hospital people came over. Deku was on the hospital bed, and he passed his producer. His producer said, "Dude, you gotta be okay, okay? You're gonna be okay." So he also sees another girl with purple hair looking at Deku, kind of blushing, but also with a concerned look. They get to the hospital. Deku's in the hospital for about 5 months. Deku is in the hospital. Deku does wake up about a week after, he gets in the medical bed, but he does stay there because the bullet almost shot one of the nerves in Deku's shoulder, meaning that it was a 1% chance Deku couldn't be able to move his left arm ever again. So Deku was extremely lucky that those people didn't shoot the wrong part of his shoulder. So yeah, Deku was extremely lucky. So Deku, after those couple of days, so pretty much Deku, after the 5 months of physical training on his left arm, Deku goes back home. Deku's mom is worried about Deku and pretty much just hugs him and takes care of him. After that, Deku does some other music about how he got shot and how he's a gangster or something, and all that other stuff. Now, Deku eventually tires this and he goes to sleep, and Deku does get the itch. So Deku pretty much goes home. Deku goes to a house that he bought a couple of months ago while he was in the hospital. He did some paperwork with his producer to buy his own place. Deku's place was kind of cabin that was owned by the Momoyarozu family. And you're probably wondering where I'm going to take this. So yeah, Deku's they pretty much, the Momoyarozu owned a couple of houses in Deku. It was like a beautiful porch, a beautiful old woodland mansion type of house near the ponds and the wilderness where the birds chirp. It was pretty good, and also had a direct street down to the city, so Deku couldn't get lost if he was in the street. So Deku bought this house and also bought himself a car so he can go to that house. So let me show you what his car and his house looks like. This is Deku's mansion's area. So yeah, this is Deku's mansion from the front. Deku's mansion inside. Yeah, this is inside the front part of the building. This is the back side of the building. So yeah, pretty lit. So Deku is pretty lit. Deku also has a soundproof room in this, house, this cabin, so he can upload his music and and upload it to his producer. Deku also throws a couple parties there, but not, that much. Well, he doesn't really throw any parties. He mostly just stays there, um, drinking some, drinks. Deku isn't an alcoholic, I'm gonna tell you right there. Deku is an alcoholic, and Deku does not, do cocaine or any of that. He doesn't put that crap in his body, and you shouldn't either. Okay, so basically did all that. Deku basically lived in his house, and Deku was getting a little lonely. And Deku actually think about wanting to have a girlfriend. So Deku was famous. Deku wasn't really famous yet, but Deku did get all the money that he got all when he got all of his money rearranged and all that other stuff. Let me show you what Deku's, garage looks like. This is basically what Deku's Lamborghini looks like. So yeah, it's pretty lit. So guys, basically that's what Deku's, whole entire ride looks like. And Deku is pretty balling. So eventually, Deku tells his mom about his whole entire penthouse, and his mom is happy for Deku. Deku also buys his mom another house close to their old house, so Deku doesn't have to, move. So let me show you what house Deku bought for his mom. Deku bought this mansion for his mom. Deku's mom was extremely happy. Deku's mom turned down an offer because Deku did offer to get her a car, but Deku's mom turned it down and said, "It's enough, honey, for you to give me this huge house." So Deku pretty much think he outdid himself, getting his mom her dream home. And pretty much after that, Deku. So after Deku, whole entire fiasco, spending all this cash and money, Deku is still getting some more box office, or I don't really know what it's called, money from his other album. And Deku eventually stops and gets to a certain breaking point because Deku is kind of feeling lonely. So Deku pretty much is walking down the street doing his early morning jog, and like this all happens in the span of the 10-month training. So this is the last month before, the whole entire entrance exam starts. Deku is already well skilled with his quirk, and Deku already knows how to fight and box. So Deku's pretty already ready to go for the entrance exam. But Deku's just doing his morning jog, and Deku's already has that All Might training body already. So Deku's running down the street. Deku's just like freaking a pounds of muscle. So Deku just walking down, pretty much doing his morning jog, and he passes a girl with a ponytail, with black hair, and she kind of looks cute. Deku pretty much sees her jogging, and he eventually sees her walk to the house a couple of a couple of yards away from his house. Basically a huge ass mansion. This is basically what Momo's mansion looks like. It's pretty lit. So Deku, seeing this, is amazed that this girl lives there, and pretty much asks her, "Who is she?" She says, "I'm Momoya Rozu, and pretty much I live here. You must be Deku. You're the guy that bought the mansion that no one else was going to buy because it was way too expensive. Well, how can you afford it?" Deku says, Deku scoffs, kind of gets pissed by this, thinking that she's talking about his race. She realizes that Deku thinks this and says, "No, it's not like that. I mean, like, how much money do you even get? Because not that many people, even the richest people I know, can't even afford that big of a house and that expensive of a house." Deku is about to spill to her that he's a rapper, but he gets a phone call that minute and says, "Wait, Chaku, I mean, Momo just takes this opportunity to go in her house and pretty much just leaves Deku there. Deku walks off the front porch and goes back to his house. Deku sits on his couch and pretty much just starts talking to his producer, and his producer says that my daughter wanted her to make a album with you. Deku said, okay. And at this point, Deku is still 16. Deku is still a child. But he is getting that cash. That cash. So Deku goes to the city, and pretty much Deku meets up with his daughter and sees that she's the same purpled hair girl, aka Jiro. So yeah, the person that was producing Deku was Jiro's dad. So Jiro tells Deku that I wanted to make a song with you, blah blah blah, and Deku says, "Cool." So Deku gives her the latest, pretty much songs and his lyrics that he made for this next song. She says it's very good, and she says sing it. So they go into the um album room. They go into the recording room. Deku sings this whole entire jam. Eventually, Deku stops, and he gets his whole entire jam in. Deku's extremely excited, and eventually Deku shrugs it off, and Deku re-listens to his recording back over and says that's lit. So she says thank you, and pretty much uploads it. So Deku gets the most outcome that he did his whole entire thing. So Deku's father sees how big this album just dropped and how much people have seen this compared to Deku's other albums. So Deku's father gives up the mantle of his producer to, Jiro. So Jiro sees this as an opportunity, and after that, she trains Deku more and more. And Jiro does still have that opportunity because Jiro did want to help people after she just saw, how Deku got shot in the shoulder by a couple of villains. So Jiro did want to become a hero. Deku did want to still become a hero as well. And pretty much they trained together over the last month. And through those months, Deku also got an opportunity to go to make his own concert by by another producer. Deku's Jiro's father knew, so they got out. They got pretty much a what was it? Oh yeah, they got a concert ready to go, clean, flat, just ready, pace and go. So they start, and Deku is pumping, just singing, just spitting fire. They get there, Deku's practicing, practicing. Sorry guys. Deku's practicing and practicing, and eventually Deku gets it down, and you know, the well, what was it? Man, the concert starts. Sorry guys, I just forget that name. The concert starts, and everybody goes ham, and then everybody's just singing along with Deku, and pretty much Deku is just going ham on it. Deku is not letting back anything. Deku's going as hard as he's ever done, and Deku is going as hard as he's ever done, in singing. So Deku just sings his heart out. Everybody is just out. Like, they have this whole entire beat playing. Like, the emotion is just strong in the building. So Deku gets his whole entire concert stage just going at it, and they're just getting beaten up. Like, it's just going at it. Like, they're just everything is just perfect. After the concert, everybody knows who Deku is, and some people from UA that are going to UA, and also some people from Deku's school, and some people from Jiro's school, because Jiro is in the background playing a little bit of music on the what was it, the speaker. They see Jiro, just a little bit of Jiro in the back in the stages. So yeah, pretty much Deku after the concert he pretty much people ask him for his autographs. Deku gives out autographs, gives out pictures, and all that other stuff. Eventually, Bakugo comes up to Deku and just sign the paper, please. And Deku signs it and scoffs at Deku and says, "At least you said please." Bakugo says, "I didn't mean to say please, you nerd," and walks off. Deku is kind of pissed by this, but just shrugs it off. And Deku goes back home. Deku sees that he's all alone, and Jiro's the only female that's really helped her out. So Deku calls over Jiro because Deku did get Jiro's number. Jiro does have a little crush on Deku. Deku and Jiro, they come over at his house. Deku is in his bedroom, and Jiro knocks on the door, and Deku has an automatic door opening system, so he presses a button and the door automatically unlocks. Jiro walks in, goes up the stairs because she hears jazz in Deku's bedroom, and Deku's sitting on the bed, and pretty much he wants to surprise her, gets up, and pretty much he's in the corner of the room. She walks in, and he comes up behind Jiro and hugs her. And pretty much they start kissing, and Deku picks up Jiro, like, cradle style, princess style, and throws her on the bed, and pretty much he gets on top of her, and she blushes, and Jiro starts kissing Deku. Deku starts kissing her, and you can imagine what happens next. You can imagine. It's up to you guys, because I'm not that type of person. So it's up to you. So after, that thing. So, pretty much, Deku wakes up the next morning, gets into his, gets into his outfit, his morning outfit, his robe, and pretty much goes on the internet looking up how his album's doing, and Jiro gets up in a hurry, and Deku looks at her like, what's going on? Jiro puts on her uniform, UA, and says, well, it's the UA entrance exam today. Deku spits out his coffee and says, what the hell you mean? Deku gets dressed in one of his, outfits. Deku pretty much gets in an outfit exactly picture perfect to this outfit right here. Deku gets ready, they get in the car, and they drive off. Jiro and him get into the building, they rush in there, and the entrance exam starts. They get to the written exam, they do good. Not anything like extremely good, but they pass nonetheless. They get the average score. They're not done, but they get the average score. So they move on to the practical exam. They're in the waiting room just listening, and then President Mike explains more, and Ida interrupts. Deku gets a little scoff out of this, and pretty much he grabs Ida's shoulder and says, "Sit the fuck down, or I'm folding you. Just let him finish his goddamn sentence." President Mike is shocked that Deku is just going to do that, and Ida says, "What are you talking to me for?" Deku says, "Shut the hell up, nigga, or I'll fold you myself." And his hand starts glowing because Deku's manifesting a lighter in his hand, about to just, light on some clothing. President Mike starts talking again, and Deku undoes what he's about to do and sits back down next to Jiro. So they start, and Deku, pretty much, and Jiro are kind of a thing. Not yet, per se. But, yeah. So I kind of will making this kind of like a two-part harem. So pretty much Deku walks into the practical exam. They start, and before they start, Deku was about to walk over to Jiro to give her head the good luck, but Ida stops Deku and pretty much stops him right there and says, "Don't you try to sabotage her chance of getting into UA." Deku pulls out a freaking Glock, shoves it to Ida's chin, and says, "You wanna fuck with me, nigga? Fuck with me. I ain't gonna sabotage jack shit." Ida steps back and says, "I'm sorry, dude. It was just a joke. It was just a joke." And Ida's personality changed drastically. Deku makes his clock disappear, evaporate into air, and seconds after that, the practical exam starts. Deku summons Mjolnir, and pretty much just starts flying around the map. Deku eventually just crashes into some robots, taking them out, electrocuting them, taking them out one by one. Eventually, Deku stops and sees the Zero Opponent robot. Deku takes out a freaking RBG and just starts letting it rip. Just pushes the trigger, exploding the Zero Opponent robot. Seeing that a girl is under some rubble near the Zero Point robot, Deku runs over to the girl and pretty much manifests Cloud's sword from the video game and pries the rebel off of the girl. He picks up the girl while his foot is on the handle of the sword while he's prying open the rebel off of the girl, and he sprints off. Deku sprinting and sprinting and sprinting. At this point, the girl is kind of blushing in Deku's arms because well, Deku, his shirt is like ripped up. And so technically Deku is sort of shirtless. So Deku is running and running and running. Kind of pissed at his, his hoodie just got messed up, but he got like 5 more of these at home. So Deku starts sprinting to the to the recovery girl and throws her to recovery girl. Deku sprints back into the map and pretty much pulls out a huge, I mean like a huge ass gun. I can't show you that gun because, like, come on. It's YouTube. What you expect, bro? You can't show guns in YouTube. Are you dumb or something? Pretty much, Deku pulls out a freaking huge-ass Glock. Just start letting it rip on robots. Just taking them out. Eventually, Deku gets 15 villain points and 50 hero points. I know, 80 hero points and 50 villain points. So after that, Deku goes back home because the clock shook to 0. And Deku goes back home and pretty much since Deku displayed such a powerful creation quirk, they're really impressed about Deku's abilities. And All Might is kind of interested in and wants kind of wants to give Deku his quirk. Deku goes back home, goes back to his Well, Deku doesn't go back to his mansion. He goes back to his mom's mansion to keep her company. Deku's in his room, pretty much just in his pretty much other room he has in his mom's mansion. Pretty much just laying there because Deku pretty much just fitted his mom's mansion where his room is for that mansion. It's pretty much just a music room. That's basically what Deku's bedroom looked like right here, guys. So yeah, this was the first side of Deku's bedroom. The other side's a lot different. This is the other side of his bedroom, and pretty much Deku's bedroom over to his mom's mansion is pretty more, more teenager. Not more, humble like his other teenage room. Deku does have a replica of this room and his, mansion, but he mostly prefers this room because it's more, original. So, after that, I'm basically going to just leave it off here. See you guys later. Bye.